Hi everyone, my name's Dimitri and welcome back to DimitriTube. So today's video is going to be very heavy. I'm going to be diving into whether or not I think Rachael Kirkconnell is actually a racist. Now, I'm a new YouTuber and I'm trying to grow my channel, so if you're enjoying this video, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. It helps me out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. Rachael Kirkconnell is a contestant on the current season of The Bachelor with Matt James. Rachel has come under fire a lot on the internet after a certain video on TikTok went viral, accusing her of being a racist. On my channel, I do Bachelor and Bachelorette reviews. I decided to dig further into this because people keep commenting on my that Rachel is racist. It's clear that Rachel is a frontrunner and that she'll go far. Up to this point, she's been one of my favorites on the show. Normally, I do not address gossip I hear from The Bachelor or any of the contestants because there is so much gossip that happens in Bachelor Nation, like, it's overwhelming. But this Rachel being racist thing has become such a huge elephant in the room, I need to address it. Also, I started doing reviews for The Bachelor and The Bachelorette on Claire's season, and I really thought I was just going to be reviewing a trashy reality show. But since I've started these reviews, I have had to unpack so much racism. Unpacking racism is exhausting. I was not planning on making a video about Rachel. Originally, I was planning on unboxing the new Lady Gaga Oreos, but this has become such an elephant in the room, I had to address it. But the Lady Gaga Oreos must wait. Let's dive in and get started. Now, this whole thing started because an anonymous TikTok was released where a girl claimed Rachel had bullied her because she was dating a black guy. So then after that, a TikToker called Feminist Mama put together a 60-second video where she accused Rachel of being racist. This video went viral and I believe it got over 2 million views. Now, before I dive into the actual video, I do have to go over some things. First and foremost, I do not believe just any and all accusations. I need solid receipts, and y'all know that. So for her to create this TikTok and not provide any links to receipts or evidence is very suspect. Also, the research that Feminist Mama did was very lazy. If you're gonna accuse someone of racism, you really need to do more than a 60-second video on TikTok. And you should also provide links to receipts and evidence so people can tell if this is real and not fabricated. But a lot of people viewed this TikTok and just automatically agreed with her. And I am by no means an expert on race, racism, or race relations, but I did do a little more research than Feminist Mama did. Also, next thing, I don't believe in cancel culture. For the most part, I think cancel culture is dumb, and the only times where it makes sense are like the few extreme examples we've seen, such as Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby. Weinstein and Cosby used their extensive power to harm people time and time again. I'm not going to dive any deeper than that on my thoughts on cancel culture because this video would be way too long. But I'm letting you know from the start of this video, for the most part, I do not agree with cancel culture. Next, I'm pretty sure Feminist Mama is white or Caucasian. If she is not Caucasian, please somebody let me know below in the comments, but from what I've seen on her TikTok page, I'm pretty sure she's Caucasian. Now, this is important because when I first saw this video, I was skeptical. It's just not often that a white person accuses another white person of racism. Normally, it's the person of color doing the accusing because they experience the wrath of the racism. And I'm not saying that white people cannot accuse other white people of racism, but it just doesn't happen very often. Next, this is straight up bullying. I am by no means excusing Rachel's behavior, but this series of videos that this TikToker posted is bullying. And if you've been watching The Bachelor this season, if you thought the OGs were bullying the new girls, then how could you not think this is not bullying as well? Now hear me out. Feminist Mama posted a video on TikTok and it went viral. And she didn't even give Rachel a chance to clap back. After that first video went viral, she posted 2 more videos dragging Rachel through the mud even harder. And she knows that Rachel cannot clap back. If you're a contestant on The Bachelor and Bachelorette, you cannot post anything on social media until the season is over. And then even after that, your social media accounts are monitored for like 1 or 2 years. So Feminist Mama is dragging Rachel's name through the mud and she can't even clap back or even defend herself. Literally, the definition of bullying is to seek harm or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. And in this case, Rachel is vulnerable in the sense that she cannot even defend herself against these claims from this random TikToker. And I know a lot of you at this point are like, but Dimitri, how do you clap back against racism? But please keep watching. Later on in the video, I'm going to dive into that specific TikTok and I'm going to show you all the evidence that Feminist Mama found was just very poorly done research. And last thing I gotta say before we dive into the video, accusing someone of being a racist is a very serious accusation. And it's something that I take very seriously. So for some random person to do this on TikTok and not even add links to receipts, it's just very sketch to me. Also, accusing someone of being a racist is not as serious as an accusation as it once was. Nowadays, people literally throw this term around all the time, especially online. For example, during the first Democratic presidential debate of 2020, Kamala Harris heavily implied that Biden was racist multiple times. And now she works for him. If you're Black and you truly deep down felt that someone was racist against Black people, you wouldn't go work for them. And in our community, we refer to people who do that as sellouts. And a lot of Black people in the United States do in fact feel like Kamala Harris is a sellout. But that is a whole other topic and a whole other YouTube video. Now with all that said, let's start talking about the TikTok video because I know y'all are ready for it. Okay, first thing, Rachel apparently liked a photo of a couple of her friends and in the background was a Confederate flag. Now, Confederate flags are horrible. They need to be in museums, not on the streets. And whenever I see a Confederate flag hanging up, I know that I am unwelcome in that space. I've lived most of my life in Virginia. My dad is from Louisiana and I have family in Atlanta. So I've been all over the South. I've been to the South multiple times. Up until the BLM protest that popped off in June 2020, you would see these flags when traveling throughout the South. It's not as prevalent as seeing American flags, but again, you still see these flags every now and again if you travel through the South. And a lot of people do not understand why these flags are harmful. These flags were not banned at NASCAR races until June 2020. And the Confederate flag was also part of the Mississippi flag, and Mississippi didn't vote to change it until June 2020. And I live in Virginia, and on 95 South in Stafford, there was a huge Confederate flag that was not taken down until 4 months ago. So clearly, there are a lot of people who did not understand the harm of this flag. Now, going back to Rachel, Feminist Mama dragged Rachel for liking this photo, but we don't know when Rachel liked the photo, but I'm pretty sure it was before June 2020, and I think Rachel just didn't know any better. Now, I am by no means excusing Rachel's behavior, but this could be a huge learning moment for her and Matt to go through together. Next, let's talk about Rachel's cultural appropriation costumes. Now, this costume is not racist, but it is highly insensitive, and Feminist Mama even says that in the video. And up until a few years ago, a lot of people did not know this costume was offensive. And since Feminist Mama doesn't give any timestamps, we don't know when Rachel actually wore this costume. And again, I would put the Native American costume in the same category. Feminist Mama provides no timestamps, so I don't know how long ago Rachel wore it. And a lot of people did not know this costume was offensive up until a few years ago. Now, Feminist Mama actually did give us a timestamp for the bindi. Rachel wore the bindi in June 2020. Now, I personally did not find out that bindis were offensive until 2018. In 2017, a lot of people were putting on bindis to go to Coachella, and they would flood Instagram with photos, and they received a lot of backlash from the Asian community. And then a year later, right before Coachella 2018, an article was released called How to Avoid Cultural Appropriation at Coachella. That's what I read and found out that bindis were inappropriate. Now, this article came out in 2018, and Rachel wore that bindi in June 2020 when the BLM protests picked up. I'll leave it up for you all to decide. Do you think Rachel should have known better by that point? Or do you think this possibly could have been a mistake? I'll leave it up for you to decide. Okay, now we're moving on. Next, Rachel has friends that are MAGA supporters. Now, just because Rachel has friends that are MAGA supporters, I do not think that makes her a racist, and I will show you using numbers. Can't argue with numbers, right? Keep in mind, Biden did not win by a landslide, and I am by no means a Trump supporter. Wait, let me say this again to make sure you all heard it. I am by no means a Trump supporter. President Biden received 81 million votes, whereas former President Trump received 74 million votes. So this means that Biden only won by 7 million votes. So 46% of America voted for Trump, which that's almost half. So going back to this TikTok video, Rachel can only be friends with half of the people in America? Also, going even further than that, Rachael is from Georgia. And in Georgia, Biden only won by 0.3% of the vote, which in this case was literally 12,000 votes. So you're essentially saying Rachael cannot be friends with 50% of the people in her home state. Literally, if you meet someone in Georgia who voted, there's a 50-50 chance that they voted for Trump. Feminist Mama is saying she cannot be friends with them, or that she's a racist. If you don't believe me or you want to verify my numbers, I posted a link below to the election results. Next, Feminist Mama says that Rachael's too privileged to vote. Ugh, yuck. If someone does not want to vote, that's their personal choice, and the great thing about this country is that we do have the freedom of choice here. If someone does not want to vote, they don't have to, and we shouldn't shame them for not voting. Some of you may agree with me, some of you may disagree with me, and that's fine. We can have different opinions. Next, this is a solid chunk of the video. She talks about Rachael's mom and dad. Rachael's mom is Republican, and Rachael's dad has supported many groups that were pro-Trump. Also, her family is allegedly from one of the most racist counties in the country. Now, I judge a person based on their words and their actions, not the actions of their parents. Why are we judging Rachael based on her parents? Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character." So where in Dr. King's speech was there any mention of judging someone based on their mom's character, their dad's character, or their parents' character? That is not what Dr. King said, and we will not be misquoting him during Black History Month in 2021. You need to judge Rachael based on her actions and not her parents' actions. And I mentioned this in my last Bachelor review with Kit. I'll post the link above. You do not get to choose your parents, and you do not get to choose how you grew up. So we cannot hold Rachael's parents against her. Okay, so all of this started because of that anonymous TikTok, and then Feminist Mama received a bunch of random DMs with similar stories accusing Rachael of being a racist. Now, if you've been watching The Bachelor this season, you know that Anna got sent home because she received a ton of random DMs accusing Brittany of being an escort. And Anna later confronted Brittany about this. So if we're believing random DMs that Rachael is a racist, then we're also believing random DMs Anna received saying Brittany is an escort. Just like how Feminist Mama received this rumor in her DMs multiple times, Anna received that rumor in her DMs multiple times. Y'all need to keep the same energy. Keep the same energy. If you believe the random DMs that this TikToker who's not even involved with the show received, then you also need to believe the DMs that Anna received. But for some reason, y'all dragged Anna under the bus and applauded when she got sent home. So which one is it? Okay, in the second video, Feminist Mama says that Rachael's friends and family defended her. Now, this response was expected. If your name was being dragged through the mud online and you couldn't defend yourself, of course your friends and family are going to chime in and try to help. I said this earlier in the video. Rachael is in a contract with ABC and she cannot break that contract or she will get sued for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The contestants are given these contracts every season, and a racism accusation does not change that contract, just like any other gossip accusation. Next, there are some screenshots from Rachael's Twitter account where she uses appropriating language. Now, if you look closely at the post, Rachael says, "I love Black people," and "dinner with the sisters." Now, I personally do not find these two statements offensive. Maybe I'm not woke enough. If you're Black and you find these two statements offensive, please let me know below in the comments. What am I missing? Also, these tweets are from 8 years ago in 2012. In 2012, Rachael was 16 years old. Are y'all gonna hold Rachael accountable for something she did when she was 16 and still a minor? Also, apparently she used Black emojis. Now, I don't have an issue with people of other races using Black emojis. Whenever I get a haircut, I use the blonde guy haircut emoji. Now, the internet does take offense to other races of people using Black emojis. This actually happened recently in celebrity news. Khloe Kardashian used some Black emojis and the internet got mad. Personally, I find this very petty. People are out here dying of coronavirus and you're worried about someone using a Black emoji? Y'all worried about the wrong things. Next, there's a photo of Rachael allegedly bowling with a slave. I definitely need more context for this. What Black person would agree to dress up as a slave. And if you look closely at the post, there's no @ so you don't even know where this came from. Now, if you look closely at this outfit that this guy is wearing, does he look like a slave to y'all? First of all, he's wearing jeans. Jeans were not patented until 1873, which is 8 years after slavery ended. And then if you look more closely at the photo, it looks like he's wearing a safety vest. Honestly, this outfit to me looks more like he does maintenance for the bowling alley than he does a slave. What do you all think? Let me know below in the comments. Okay, now we're moving on to the third video that was posted where Rachael attended an Old South formal with her sorority. Okay, I cannot go into this without giving a little history. And also, let me start by saying, in my opinion, I think fraternities and sororities do more good than they do harm. Some of you may disagree with this, but that's fine. We can have different opinions. Also, I was never in a fraternity, so if any of my information is incorrect, please let me know below in the comments. Most fraternities and sororities are very deep-rooted in tradition, and many of them have been around over a century. Now, over a century ago, Black and white people were segregated. The Civil Rights Act that eliminated discrimination was not established until 1964, and a lot of these fraternities and sororities are much older than that. And even after the Civil Rights Act was passed, it still took time to assimilate. Some people even argued that today we still haven't fully assimilated. Now, there are historically Black colleges and universities, as well as historically Black fraternities and sororities. Because back in the day, Black people were not even allowed to go to these white colleges and universities. If Black people wanted to further their education, they had to create their own colleges and universities, which later on they created their own fraternities and sororities. Now, fast forward to 2021, you still have historically Black fraternities and sororities that are still mostly Black. And you also have other fraternities and sororities that are still mostly white. Now, keep in mind, people of other races can apply to and potentially join these organizations. It just does not happen very often. Now, how does this affect Rachael? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, first of all, I don't know if Rachael was required to go to this Old South formal, but when you're in Greek life, a lot of things are required, especially if you're a pledge. And unless a family member passes away or something serious to that extent happens, it's not a negotiation. Second, if you see something as racist, it takes courage to stand up to that, especially pre-BLM protests this past June. So in the photo that Feminist Mama posted, there's like 20 women in this photo. So if there was 20 women in her sorority, there's probably 20 or more guys who joined from the fraternity. So Rachael would have had to stand up to 50 or more people during this one event. And standing up to 50 or more people during an event that is rooted in hundreds of years of tradition is really hard. The average person would not be able to stand up to that. And a lot of people on the internet preach social justice behind the keyboard in the comfort of their homes, but it's another thing to actually stand up to it in person. And a lot of you viewing this video right now probably wouldn't have had the courage to do it either. Also, let us not forget, Matt James couldn't even call out his 4 friends for body shaming Victoria when they were playing golf. And that was just 4 people. And now you're getting mad at Rachael for not standing up to 50 or more people? Now I will give Rachael an opportunity to clap back, and I will give her a chance to talk on these allegations that people have put against her. Now, there are some things that do need to be accounted for. But as you've seen in this video, a lot of the evidence Feminist Mama provided was not very well researched. And she needs to provide her audience with better receipts if she's going to drag someone's name through the mud like this. If we're going to hold public figures accountable, we also need to hold feminist TikTokers accountable as well. Now, after all of that, do I think Rachael is a racist? No. Does she likely need to be educated on some things? More than likely, yes. I really like The Bachelor, and it would really suck if we have another relationship fail immediately after the season ends, over allegations from a lazy feminist researcher. After everything I've presented to you today, I want to know what you all think. Do you still think Rachael is a racist? Let me know below in the comments. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and leave a like, go leave a subscribe. If you feel inclined, leave a comment. I'm excited. I want to know what you all think of this video. I put a lot of work into it. And last thing before I go, if you follow my channel and you're waiting on this week's review, I will get it out to you as soon as I can. I should have it out by tomorrow. Normally, I drop an episode review the day after the episode, but I really had to address this elephant in the room, and I just felt like this video was a little more important fun than this week's review. But I will get you the review as soon as I can. And I will also have a review of the Lady Gaga Oreos coming soon as well. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and pound that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on that video. And that is all I have for you. I know this video was very heavy. Let's take a deep breath. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.